So tonight, as we are recording this, Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh and some staff members are making an in-home visit with five-star athlete Nicholas Harbor. It has been a whirlwind of the last couple of weeks in the Nicholas Harbor recruitment. Harbor, obviously a freak athlete out of the DMV, 6'5", 225 pounds with 10.28 100 meters speed. Um, if you don't know who Nicholas Harbor is by now, uh, I don't know what to tell you. This is a Michigan recruiting show, and he is the top overall remaining target on the board as we head into the late signing period. As I said, it's been kind of crazy with the Nicholas Harbor recruitment. You've had Oregon jump into the mix late. We all know how NIL friendly the Ducks are. We also know that Harbor, being a guy that wants to eventually run in the Olympics and is taking track just as seriously as he is taking football. We know Oregon offers a lot on the track side as well as their ties to Nike through Phil Knight. So Harbor making an official visit now to Oregon this coming weekend. Michigan did not get a return visit after hosting him for an OV way back in September, which is a little concerning, meaning tonight's in home with Harbaugh is the last time Michigan will be able to have face to face contact with Harbor before he makes a decision. If you are Jim Harbaugh, Zach, what are you selling Harbor late? Because this is a kid that's been to campus multiple times. You've been recruiting him for more than a year. You've been the constant in his recruitment. I know you've had some ups and downs with Oregon coming in late. South Carolina had some momentum early on in the fall. Maryland is quietly feeling confident as well. What is your pitch to Nicholas Harbor if you're Michigan and Jim Harbaugh?
I mean, I think the OV kind of set forth what the Harbor family understands what Michigan can provide. I mean, proper development to become a first round draft pick, full reign on deciding whether or not to play wide out or edge at the next level. You can become the star on the 100-meter on the track team. You get the best education that no one else on his top list can provide. If you want to counter Oregon's NIL pitch, which I assume Phil Knight and his Nike team are going to do, you pitch how the current players on the roster are set up with the NIL opportunities while they're enrolled. Um, you give examples like Blake Corum. You give examples like JJ McCarthy, guys who didn't come in with NIL but end up getting it because of what they were able to do on and off the field. If NIL does become a main reason for why or why not Harbor commits to a school, you have to pitch that Michigan takes care of its players while they're students. And the proper examples, like I said, Corum and McCarthy are the proper ones to show that you come in, you be successful, you reap the rewards of that. But yeah, as you mentioned, like this in home with Harbor, and I know Ron Bellamy and Sherrell Moore are coming in too. Like this has to be the best one yet. Like South Carolina's in, Oregon just did one. Like anything less than that, I mean, there's little to no confidence that Michigan lands its first five-star in the 23 class. So, like you mentioned, if I was going to pitch one thing, it's you come in, you make your mark on the field, you make your mark in the classroom, NIL will come with it too.
Yeah, look, man, I mean, it's crunch time here in the Harbor recruitment, and I am a little pessimistic with all the recent developments. I think when you look at Oregon and what they've been able to do on the recruiting trail with NIL, and you factor in the track aspect as well, I think Phil Knight is actually going to be involved in the official visit this coming weekend. That to me is really scary. I know Oregon doesn't necessarily have the academics, and we've talked about this over and over about how Harbor is a 4.0 student. His dad works for NASA. I mean, we've said that a million times. I feel like everybody knows his dad works for NASA at this point. um, but look, I mean, if academics really are a factor, that I think that's something that you can continue to sell, obviously. And like you mentioned, Zach, there is no formal NIL plan on the recruiting trail that Michigan has, but they do have an idea of what they want to do. And I know we keep hearing soon, soon, soon. Soon needs to be now for Michigan on the NIL front, but that's another conversation for another day. For now, you can talk about what you're looking to do and what plans are coming into fruition in terms of having a base salary and a guarantee, and why you want to keep the culture, and why development and culture at Michigan can supersede what Oregon has to offer in upfront dollars, right? So I do feel like there is something to sell on that end. And like you said, Zach, there are examples. It's not like you can't point to anybody. You can point to Blake Corum. You can point to JJ McCarthy, and those are guys that can be used as real examples and real dollar figures on top of what you are projecting with your base salary plan. So I do feel like there's some wiggle room there, and it helps that Harvard is a really well educated kid, well thought out kid that has been pretty measured. And I do feel like Harbaugh can win this recruitment from a personal standpoint. I mean, his resume as a head coach, I feel like, is better than anybody else recruiting him right now. And Harbaugh's development, his experience, having coached in the NFL as well, being a player in the NFL as well, has to be appealing to a guy like Harbor. And even though Michigan doesn't have the track program that Oregon does or that South Carolina does, they recently renovated the indoor track facility. Harbor has a connection to the track program through women's star Zaya Holman, who is part of that magnificent comeback that went viral on social media this weekend, and she has been involved with the Michigan staff in the recruitment of Harbor. So I feel like there's still a chance. And like I said earlier, Michigan's been the constant. I mean, Oregon came in late. South Carolina didn't really have a ton of buzz until closer to the summer and into the fall. I guess Maryland has been a contender for a while as well, but it's always seemed to we no matter what has happened in this recruitment, we've always seen Michigan stick around and stay a major player, and that kind of culminates tonight as Jim Harbaugh and company are making their final pitch. And we will have a lot more on Nicholas Harbor and his in-home visit. Once that concludes, we'll be gathering information all night, and we'll have exclusive updates over at thewolverine.com, which, remember, is $29.99 until August 31st.
Thank you so much for watching. For more videos from the Wolverine, whether it be football, basketball, recruiting, live shows, and more, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for the latest.